For many years, Ellen DeGeneres felt like a familiar presence woven into ordinary life. Her laughter filled living rooms during quiet mornings. Her humor offered comfort during uncertain times. And her daily reminder to be kind became a cultural refrain. She wasn't just a television host. She was a routine, a sense of calm, a shared experience for millions. Ellen represented reassurance in a fast-moving world, someone who made kindness feel simple and achievable. Yet, public warmth often conceals private complexity. Her story was never as effortless as it appeared on screen. Behind the applause existed pressure, expectation, and unresolved emotional weight. The unraveling of Ellen's public image did not arrive with a single dramatic moment. Instead, it unfolded slowly, reshaping how audiences understood her, and challenging the idea that visibility and goodness always move in perfect alignment. When public perception began to shift, the shift in how the world viewed Ellen began quietly in early 2020, during a moment of global uncertainty. A social media prompt encouraged people to share uncomfortable or negative encounters they claimed to have experienced. What started casually quickly escalated into something far larger. Stories multiplied, interpretations blurred, and a collective narrative began forming faster than facts could be verified. The contrast was striking. A public figure known for kindness was suddenly being discussed through a lens of contradiction. Whether every account was accurate mattered less than the emotional momentum behind them. Once trust begins to erode, perception often outweighs explanation. The internet does not wait for clarity. It amplifies feeling first, leaving nuance behind. For Ellen, decades of carefully built public goodwill suddenly faced a test no monologue or punchline could easily undo. From applause to scrutiny. As attention intensified, past moments were revisited and reframed. Old interview clips, once seen as playful, were now examined with suspicion. Humor that relied on awkwardness or surprise felt different in a climate demanding accountability. Online spaces shifted from celebration to judgment almost overnight. The same platforms that once amplified Ellen's success became arenas of criticism. This transformation revealed the volatility of modern fame, where public opinion can reverse without warning. In this environment, context struggles to survive. Ellen found herself defined not by her intentions, but by interpretations shaped collectively and rapidly. The conversation grew larger than her ability to control it. For the first time in her career, she was no longer steering the narrative. She was reacting to it, navigating a digital reckoning that blurred humor, power, and responsibility. A workplace under examination. The conversation deepened when accounts emerged from former employees describing a workplace that felt tense and emotionally demanding. These stories led to internal reviews and structural changes behind the scenes. Ellen addressed the situation publicly, acknowledging responsibility for the environment and expressing regret that it did not reflect the values associated with her show. For some, her response felt genuine and reflective. For others, it felt insufficient or delayed. Once public doubt settles in, apologies often struggle to restore trust. The situation highlighted a difficult truth about leadership. Culture is shaped not only by intent, but by systems, tone, and accountability. The Ellen many knew from television now stood at the center of a broader conversation about power, expectation, and the gap between image and experience. A legacy that resists simplicity. Ellen DeGeneres' legacy cannot be reduced to a single narrative. She transformed daytime television, championed visibility, and created moments of genuine generosity that changed lives. At the same time, the controversy surrounding her workplace challenged the image she had carefully built. Both truths exist together. Legacy is rarely clean or singular. It is layered, shaped by influence and imperfection. Ellen's story reminds us that public figures are not symbols. They are individuals navigating pressure, expectation, and personal history. Her contributions remain significant, even as criticism reshapes how they are viewed. The discomfort surrounding her later years does not erase her impact, but it does complicate it, asking audiences to hold admiration and accountability in the same frame. Early pain. Beneath the humor. Long before fame, Ellen's life was shaped by instability and emotional pain. Growing up in a modest household marked by separation and uncertainty, She learned early that safety was not guaranteed. Experiences from her youth left lasting impressions, influencing how she navigated trust, vulnerability, and control. Humor became her shield, a way to redirect pain into something manageable. Laughter offered power where silence once existed. This coping mechanism would later define her career, but its roots were deeply personal. The cheerful exterior the public embraced was built over years of emotional adaptation. Understanding this background does not excuse later shortcomings, but it adds context. It reveals a person who learned to survive through humor long before learning how to rest within it. Persistence before recognition. Ellen's early adulthood was marked by uncertainty and persistence. She worked various jobs while performing in comedy clubs that offered more rejection than applause. These spaces tested resilience, demanding emotional toughness and patience. Each performance refined her voice, teaching her how to observe, connect, and endure silence. Success did not arrive quickly or easily. It emerged gradually, shaped by trial and repetition. Comedy became not just a career path, but a discipline, one that required vulnerability in public and endurance in private. These formative years instilled determination that would later help her navigate both success and backlash. Long before she became a household name, Ellen learned how to survive instability without losing her sense of self, breaking barriers at a cost. Ellen's rise to mainstream success included moments of profound courage. When she came out publicly in the late 1990s, the decision altered television history, but came with immediate consequences. Backlash followed swiftly, and professional opportunities narrowed. The industry was not yet prepared to fully support that level of visibility. Ellen faced isolation and career uncertainty, echoing earlier experiences of rejection. Yet this moment reshaped cultural conversation and expanded representation in media. The cost was personal, but the impact was collective. This chapter of her life reinforced a pattern. Progress often demands sacrifice. The resilience developed during this period would later become essential, both in her return to success and in navigating future public scrutiny. Reinvention through connection. Ellen's talk show debut in 2003 marked a quiet reinvention rather than a dramatic comeback. The format allowed her to blend humor with empathy, creating moments of shared humanity rather than spectacle. The show celebrated everyday kindness, emotional honesty, and connection, resonating with audiences seeking comfort. Over time, it became a cultural fixture, shaping the tone of daytime television. Ellen's influence extended beyond comedy into philanthropy, advocacy, and storytelling. This era represented renewal, proof that resilience can transform rejection into relevance. Yet, reinvention does not erase the past. It builds upon it. The warmth audiences felt was real, even as the complexity behind it remained unseen. Life beyond the spotlight. In recent years, Ellen has chosen distance from constant visibility, valuing privacy over presence. Stepping back allowed reflection, rest, and a reevaluation of identity beyond performance. When she appears now, it is with gentler humor and quieter intention. The drive to entertain has softened into a desire to understand and live with less external validation. This shift reflects maturity rather than retreat. Ellen's story does not end with applause or controversy alone. It ends in evolution. Her life reminds us that public figures are not frozen in one moment of triumph or failure. They continue growing, learning, and redefining themselves long after the spotlight dims. What remains? What remains of Ellen DeGeneres is not a simple verdict, but a layered truth. She influenced culture, opened doors, made people laugh, and faced criticism that reshaped her public image. Her legacy asks for nuance, not absolutes. It reminds us that kindness is not a slogan, but a practice that requires humility and reflection. Ellen's journey reflects the complexity of being human under constant observation. In stepping away, she reclaimed something deeply personal, the right to exist beyond expectation. Her story endures not because it is flawless, but because it is honest, unresolved, and unmistakably human.